After my mom's transition in 2014, and I arrived home in Fairhope, Alabama, after being in Chicago for about 4 or 6 weeks, life for me was just completely different. It was as though I was moving in slow motion, and everything around me was moving in warp fast speed. And not only that, it felt like everyone wanted something from me, including clients that didn't even know that my mom had transitioned. And that just, I felt so agitated. I felt as though someone was scraping on a chalkboard constantly, and I didn't know how to deal. So I was really just beside myself in a quiet sort of way. What happened was one of my clients from Chicago, Jane G. Doyle, she called me and she asked me and invited me. She said, I'm going to John of God for Thanksgiving, and if you want to go, it might do you some good. She said, but there's no pressure. You can just go. And she said, Paige, I don't care if you stay in your room for the full time. I'm just trying to help in some way. So at that point, I was unable to do small tasks. Small tasks would really stress me out. So I asked her, I said, here's my credit card. If you just make the reservations and make the arrangements, I'll go. But that was after I thought about it for a week. And I knew I needed to do something because I kind of felt dead. I really felt not alive on this earth. Because my mom was my best friend. She was someone I called daily, like twice, 3 times a day, and say, Mom, look, hey, guess what? I had a client who did this and they loved my work. And oh my gosh, my mom was my hero and she was my best fan. So I went to John of God. John of God is in Brazil, Abadiânia, Brazil. And I really didn't know what to expect. So the first thing I did was I looked on their site before I went. And I know this is quirky, but it's really me. And I saw that in some of the rooms they didn't have curtains. So I took one luggage carrier full of curtains. I know. Whatever. It's me. Okay, so the very great thing about being there is that she was right. There was no pressure. The only thing I was required to do was just be. I didn't have to show up for dinner. I didn't have to do anything I didn't want to do. And so there I was in Abadiânia, Brazil, dressed in all white. We were suggested to dress in all white because this place, Abadiânia, Brazil, was a place that's considered to be high on the earth and close to the other realm. And so there were days where you would go into a group, a gathering. Years ago, I also heard that Oprah was there and also Wayne Dyer. Go to these sessions in the morning, starting at about 8 in the morning. And I'd sit in this room with all these other people that I didn't know. And we would all be praying and meditating for hours until after noon. Now, I'm not that type of person that can do that for that long of a time, really. And but being there, it was so freeing. It was beautiful because I had this opportunity to get the focus off of me for a moment in time. Because as I was in this room with all these other people and we were praying and we were told to just keep your head down and just pray. And so I did. I was very obedient. However, as we were praying, a different group of people would come from another part of their prayer and walk through this room, going to another session. And we were suggested to pray for these people. Now, I want to emphasize, when they suggested that, to me, that was a good suggestion, and I took that on. It wasn't any pressure. I didn't feel any behind the scenes pressure of, well, you better pray. It wasn't like that. So I got this unique and beautiful opportunity to pray for these people that I didn't know, pray for their healing. And I would imagine them in their best self being healed. I would imagine them in their, whatever their dream was, I would imagine that for them. So I did this probably every other day. I go in about 8 and I come out about 12:30 or 1 o'clock. And I felt so rejuvenated, so beautiful, so alive, so like myself. And as I stayed in Abijania for about 3 to 4 weeks, I actually didn't want to leave. I was trying to figure out a way that I could stay there. But I must say that this place freed me. And when you look at the pictures of my visa and you look at me now, it's clear that something happened in a beautiful way for me. So so that was my moment in time, my transition from my mom's death going into real life. I needed this. I needed a place that I could go that no one needed me. I needed that because I had to collect my soul. I had to collect myself again. And when I went back, I felt so alive, so rejuvenated, so great. And I stayed through Thanksgiving, and I think I stayed through Christmas or a day before Christmas, and then I went back. By the way, I stayed at this place that meant divine light, and it was spelled Luz Divina. I love that place, and I love this rooster. This rooster would crow every morning at 4 a.m. But this was a life-changing cross in the roads for me. It was like, which way am I going to go? And now I'm back home. I came back home to my beautiful loft, and I felt like I could breathe again. I felt like I could inhale life again, because like I said, life felt like it was going in slow motion. So all in all, for me, I think I'm just sharing my life. I'm not perfect. I haven't gotten it all figured out. But for me, for that moment, it's like life helped me and figured it out for me. And my client asked me to go someplace I'd never been and to do something I'd never done and to be somewhere I've never been. So I thought, I think it's best to take this route. And that route in 2014 awakened my being in Abijania, Brazil. Beautiful. So find that thing, whatever it could be, to awaken your soul. Go away, do what you need to do. You don't have to answer phones while you're in this state. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Just be kind to yourself and give yourself permission. At least that's what I had to do. I'm sorry. I have to stop telling people what to do, because you've got to do what works for you. But for what worked for me was to give myself total great love and permission. I had to hug myself some days. Okay. Thank you so much. Enjoy and be well. Be well.